This college football win totals edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. This week only, MyBookie is offering up to $200 in free bets using the promo code SGP200. That's right, up to $200 in free bets with only a one-time rollover requirement. Use SGP200 to play, win, and get paid over at MyBookie.ag. We're also brought to you by PlayBalto, the #1 office pool hosting site. PlayBalto is fully customizable, easy to manage, and most importantly, free. If that wasn't enough, you can join Joe Montana's Pick'em League to go head-to-head with the GOAT for your chance to win $1,000. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com and click the PlayBalto link to sign up today. Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking that money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's up, Crame Dog?
Oh, hey, Sean. Just prepping for the old college football here. I forgot my monocle, but
yes, you have your giant Phil Steele magazine
Free
propped
plug.
up against your laptop.
I apologize. Yeah, I'm going old school today. Fuck the computer. I only have it here because I'm recording us, but
Well, fuck the computer, but not our computer. The college football computer himself, Colby Dantabase Dan. What's happening, Colby? Long time.
Oh man, you know it's in the air, guys. It's in the air again. Bud
What's
Foster
that?
retiring,
Oh,
and
wow. So just real quick, I'm
Let's go.
glad. Finish what you were saying. Cut that music. Finish your statement. 'cause we're
unfortunately,
gonna
he
get
didn't
into
give me
some
a
shit.
Bud Light. I wanted
Okay.
a Bud Light, right?
So, all right. So the Kramer Fuck My Life tour
Yeah.
is still clear.
It's still
like,
going. It's
we
still full
thought
circle.
maybe the band broke up.
Virginia was favored to win the ACC.
So what
Media Day.
has gone well for me this year? Daniel Jones has thrown a nice deep ball, but we're not here to talk about that. College
Also-
football. I
Oh,
think
wait,
it's,
wait, real quick.
Okay.
At Gambling Podcast, you have to see the video that the New York Giants tweeted out going, "This rookie's got game," and it's Daniel Jones throwing a horrific interception in practice. Now, they're trying to highlight the cornerback on the Giants that makes the interception, but the ball was well behind the receiver. How does the social media manager, the New York Giants, not realize you don't tweet that out pretending to tout up your rookie when really it's making your franchise quarterback, quote-unquote, look like a piece of shit?
Unless he knows.
Oh, it's sarcastic.
Unless
it's
he
New
knows.
York.
Okay.
You're not sarcastic? Even the social media guy's getting his jabs in. Sorry, Kramer. You're talking about fuck your life?
You lost. You killed my train of thought. So I thought Virginia Tech football was going to be a spot where I could just chill and enjoy the. No, but Bud Foster's like, no, I'm out of here after this. I got a good squad coming back, but
Schedule
after this
is
year,
light. Schedule
I'm
is
outta
incredibly
here.
light this year. 2 FCS schools.
See-
Why'd you guys cancel East Carolina? Ooh, I know why.
Scared.
came
I
in
know
hot,
why,
Colby.
right?
See, I knew you were lying.
I've
to
been
me
waiting
with
for months, buddy. For months I've been waiting for this, all right? All right, so
You got that Phil Steele book up.
Put
Look
your
at,
head in that magazine.
look at
Well-
look at East Carolina's yards per point. Very high. Positive candidate going into 2015.
Yeah,
Can
Mike
we talk
Houston,
about
baby.
something real quick?
Sure.
Visual prop, but there's different covers for
Yes.
the Phil Steele mag. When do we
Regional
get
covers.
the database one, and what will be the different regional
Oh,
covers?
wow.
Is it just Colby dressed differently for the region?
Can I have like can I be Velvet, or do you
Yeah,
want me to be
Nick
Velvet, or
Velvet.
do you want to be
However you want.
Nick
it.
Velvet?
Anyway,
because that's like Phil Steele's like a name. Nick Velvet's college football. picks.
Anyway,
If anyone's good at Photoshop, please work up a Colby Dant cover of the Phil Steele book. That'd be pretty awesome.
so this year it's gone horrible, right? But I did just spend a week in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Not a bad place to stay, right? So I'm like, you know what? I got to get myself off of my own cursed year. I'm going on a boat trip.
Reset the
Oh,
juju.
Last
there you
time
go.
Sean and I talked, I was in Hawaii recording. Took some time out of my awesome vacation to talk to Sean.
Well, we gave out a nice winner Hall of Fame game under your welcome, America.
Yeah,
How do they keep letting us bet the Hall of Fame game under?
you know what the best part was? I was off on my boat trip during the whole game. I come back on the grid. I'm like, oh shit! I put a tremendous amount of money for a preseason game, and I was like, tell me what the score of the game was, and it was like 14-7
Oh,
or
yeah.
whatever. I'm like, oh,
And that was
ka-ching.
even I went big on the under, but I was like, maybe we'll get a little side action. So I also had the parlay of the Falcons and the under, much smaller play.
Yeah.
And, God, that was a horrible beat for the Hall of Fame
That
game.
didn't go well for you.
Our mega whale play did come in right.
My guy Jawan Winfrey with that money catch, Colorado Buffalo, 6th-round pick, sleeper. Just like last year, I gave you the heads up on our running back Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, you did.
Philip Lindsay.
Yeah.
You did.
Awesome.
You told me repeatedly he's better than Saquon Barkley.
Well,
I'm still
And
not
the
on
stats
board.
certainly,
And-
he
And
certainly
the
is.
stats proved it, right?
He certainly is as far as draft capital because the New York Giants,
Oh, here we go.
they're going to run into a similar situation. I guess the Giants,
Here we go.
it won't be an issue because you're not also trying to sign a quarterback. But look at the Dallas Cowboys right now. You have Dak Prescott who wants a new contract. You have Ezekiel Elliott
I agree, Sean. The Giants are going to be.
who wants to reset the running back market. Stephen Jones says they're not going to do it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Sean,
Yes.
the Giants will be in that very position in 5 years, since they have both of these guys under contract for 4 and 5 more years. So thank you for caring. So things are not going well. I'm going to go on a boat trip. So decide to rent some kayaks, which it's Hawaii specifically. I'm not even on like the island with lots of people. I'm in Kauai. So we get to this place, and the guy's like, all right, cool. Yeah, sign this, and here, help me put the kayaks up on your car. Oh, I don't have a rack or anything. Yeah, it's cool. I got some foam. So we just strap them to the roof of this Jeep, which, by the way, 1 out of 2 cars on the road are tourists driving around in Jeeps. Very hilarious. Get to go on this boat trip. Enjoyed my time out on the river. Really reflected.
River?
It was a river. It was a river that it was the
Okay.
Waialua River or something like that. I don't know. I don't speak the native tongue
I
well.
got you.
Anyway, I go on this boat trip. I have this tremendous moment of reflection. I see this cloud. It looks like the massive chip on Daniel Jones's shoulder. I see another one that looks like a hokey bird. All these positive things. I come back. I win this Hall of Fame game bet.
There you go.
Good juju.
No, the next fucking day I see Bud Foster.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So bringing it back to Virginia Tech, really bummed about that. I mean, greatest defensive coordinator in the history of college football?
I think that's a
No
fair
argument.
statement.
You have
Yeah.
no argument from me. The defenses have not been quite as good as when I was in school. But anyway, Sean, let's talk. Should we talk college football?
Yeah, that's what we're here for, right? But before we do, before we hop into the college football, there we go. Just a reminder, we're presented by MyBookie.ag, the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, the college experience, everything. This week, special deal over at MyBookie. Normally use that SGP50, you get a 50% deposit bonus. However, this week only, if you make your first deposit at MyBookie, you can get up to $200 in free bets using the promo code SGP200. And these rollover ones, this bonus, it's 1x rollover. A lot of times you have a higher rollover requirement. Not with SGP200, baby. And don't forget, the Super Contest. It's only $100 to enter. No proxy needed. Kramer, myself, Colby will all be entered into the MyBookie.ag Super Contest. We're going to try and win. If you guys want to go head-to-head with us, go to MyBookie.ag/Super Contest, but make sure you use the promo code SGP200. Play, win, and get paid over at MyBookie.ag. So we're looking for an excuse to talk college football, have Colby on. We'll probably we're going to do another college football preview later on in the month where we give out our picks as far as teams to win the conference. But this seems like a fun time to check in, get a big picture on the conference, maybe hit on some of the stuff Colby's talking about in the college experience, give our early leans as to these win totals, because the win totals are out. They're up over at MyBookie.ag. What win totals we like, which ones we're staying away from. Seems like a grand old time. Big Ten, Colby.
Real quick before we get started, we should talk about what Colby's doing over on the college
Yes.
experience, and that's previewing every conference, not just
the Power
the big
Five.
ones.
All 130 teams.
All 130
FBS.
teams.
And if you guys really wanted FCS, I could fucking do that too. But I don't see over and unders on that. But I pay attention. I'll tell that.
Well, I just got to say, I did not know it was possible to spend 2 hours and 20 minutes talking
That was the
about
100th episode, dude. We were
talking
drinks
about
were flowing that night.
the what was it? The American Conference.
Well, that's the best conference. You know what I mean?
2
It's
hours
the theme of,
and
oh my
20
God.
minutes, Sean.
What
Anyway,
the
so
fuck?
if you want to hear 2 hours and 20 minutes on
It's
Conference USA,
I stand by that episode. Not
Or
Conference
any-
USA, not the Conference USA, the
the
American.
the American.
right?
I'm
The
sorry,
big
home
difference,
of home of the
right?
UCF national champion.
And the East Carolina Pirates.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Potentially the James Madison Dukes.
You've previewed what 2 or 3 of the conferences. You have 7 more to go.
No, I'm through.
4.
I'm through almost all the mid majors. Mountain West is coming next, and
Nice.
then we get to the Power Five.
There we go. So
The
According-
Power Five.
According to research here, it says in a recent analysis of over 100 top podcasts, 53 minutes ideal podcast length. Just throwing that out there.
well,
Well, clearly they don't know anything about UMass football.
I will say
No
it's
one, if it wasn't for a 2-hour podcast, no one would talk UMass football.
all true statements. All true statements. I mean, right here, I head over because people should absolutely subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast Network.
Subscribe.thesgpn.com.
Yes.
And you much like Will Kitterman did, who wrote preseason college football 5 stars.
Ooh.
Love the breakdown of every conference so far. Betting UConn over this year is going to be a roller coaster. So there you have it.
I'll say this though, man, and I honestly believe this. I listen to a lot of other college football podcasts,
Yeah.
and I don't know any that breaks
Why would
down.
you do that?
I don't know any that break
Fucking
down
turncoat.
that break down all 130 teams. We go through, and I'll tell the returning starters on offense, defense, where the strength is, if it's offensive line, if it's wide route, if their punter is an All-American. We go through it.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty intense. I will say, as a consumer of podcasts, I don't mind a podcast to be longer than 53 minutes. And I have listened to 2-hour college experience podcasts.
Can we save that clip?
But I would absolutely subscribe. I mean, there's not many places you can get. This is turning into a fucking advertisement for Colby's show.
Oh, thank you.
What are we doing,
Thank
Sean?
you. Thank you.
This is our show.
This is our
You're
show.
the guest. We're talking Big Ten.
Big Ten. Let's get to it.
What are we doing?
Colby,
We're just throwing out a
early
win total,
leans.
huh?
What's the one win total that's jumping out at you? I'll rapid fire the win totals here. They're all courtesy of our pals over at mybookie.ag. Ohio State 10, Michigan 9.5, Penn State 8.5, Michigan State 8, Nebraska 8.5, Wisconsin 8.5, 6.5, Northwestern, Iowa 8, Purdue 7, Maryland 4, Minnesota 7.5, Indiana 6, Rutgers 2.5, and Illinois 4.
Oh, sorry, sorting fail there.
I'm on. I mean, the one that stands out the most to me right there is Northwestern 6.5. I mean, Pat Fitzgerald, probably one of the top 10 to 15 coaches in the country. Won 9 games last year, 10 games the year before. Like a classic overachiever. I don't see how you can. I mean, I know the Big Ten West has gotten a lot better, and I know Northwestern's schedules. I think they open up at Stanford. But I mean, come on, 6.5. This team played for the Big Ten championship last year, and they bring in a former
Are you
5-star
saying it's
recruit.
low?
Yeah, I'm saying it's low. They bring in a former 5-star recruit, a transfer from Clemson, in Hunter Johnson, so at quarterback, and I just think Fitzgerald always overachieves. I'm on the over on that one. I like that. That's my favorite out of the entire Big
Any
Ten.
any unders jumping out at you as far as teams you're looking to fade?
Yeah, I mean, I think Minnesota's number's a little high, 7.5. I understand they return a bunch of starters, but still question marks at the quarterback position. And their schedule at a conference. I mean, they open up on a Thursday night against the South Dakota State Jackrabbits, who are an FCS playoff team. Then week 2, they're at Fresno State, who won the Mountain West last year. And then they get Georgia Southern, who's a triple option team that won 10 games last year, even though their quarterback just got Tell me you saw this. Georgia Southern's quarterback just got busted, Shai Wertz. He got suspended instantly because he was drunk, and they also said, the cop said, that he was saying it was bird shit on his car and not cocaine. And it was cocaine. Tested positive for cocaine, but Wertz's excuse was that's bird shit.
Maybe
So,
the bird was on
that's
cocaine.
what I'm
Did we
saying.
not
It's
figure this
possible,
out?
right? It's
Wait,
possible.
was it dry or did he throw water on it?
I'm not sure.
It's like, sir, why would you put bird shit in a tiny bag and then that you use to break up with your key?
Well, if it's splattered on the car, maybe it's the bird did some cocaine, ate some cocaine.
Yeah, we got to figure out. All right, I'm looking at this now.
Deep dive
Right?
immediately.
Here's the other thing. Did you guys? I tweeted it out at Gambling Podcast, but the video. There's a video of it's got to be from South America somewhere. It's soccer, and I don't know what the teams are, but someone scores a goal, and then they just cut to the crowd for the crowd reactions. And just this dude doing a giant rail of cocaine.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
I saw that. It was
I gotta
great.
watch that.
I shared it under the not to quote my own tweet, but I said, okay, maybe soccer is cool.
I mean, it
That's
is.
great.
It's fucking amazing.
Great.
Because I could just imagine that person had bet a nice bet on just like over a half goal in the first half.
Right.
Just hit that sweet bet and then just chalking down a huge line.
I mean, it looked like he was using a fucking not one of the the soup spoons. It looked like
Yeah.
he was using like the spoon that's too big for your mouth. Like,
You know, like the kitchen spoon that your
Yeah,
mom would
yeah,
use
the
and, like,
serving
For
spoon.
some
like,
batter or something, you know what I mean?
when she's putting together some gravy, like stir it. Ryan, you know what gravy with
Hey.
the eye ties. But it was a giant
Gravy is
thing.
what most people call meat sauce.
Hey, let me
Fucking
mention
hillbillies.
let me mention this though. Another strong play.
How many plays you giving out?
Well, he said,
okay.
what else do I notice? Purdue under 7. Purdue under 7 might even be better than Minnesota under 7.5 because Purdue lost a lot of offensive pieces and they returned 9 of 11 on defense, but their defense wasn't very good last year. And Purdue plays, I think, one of the they were in my top 10 hardest schedules. They
So
No.
you like over Northwestern right now, under Purdue,
under Minnesota. I
under
think.
Minnesota.
Wow. Okay.
What are these? Give us your early lock of these three.
Oh, I'm going Northwestern on the over.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's the easiest one.
Kramer?
Right there.
What do you? Let's talk Big Ten. What are you doing?
This is easy. It's Ohio State under. All
Really?
day, baby. All day. How many dudes got drafted?
Yeah, they did
Like
lose a
straight
lot.
up, they lost a lot of people.
Plus,
Most importantly, they
Zeke's
lost.
got a lot of free time. He's gonna come back on campus and give some guys some ecstasy picked up in Cabo.
Oh, he's totally gonna be. Zeke, what a guy! What a guy!
See, but that thing that's tricky for you
Hold
on
on.
the Ohio State thing. Okay.
You want to say your point? Say your smart point.
I'm just saying they don't play any Power Fives out of conference.
Look at the schedule though. They have some
It's
intriguing,
Cincinnati, right?
intriguing road matchups in
Oh, no.
conference.
I know that they get
They're on the
Northwestern
road
and
in
Nebraska.
Michigan.
They're going to
on
lose.
the road in
Yeah.
Nebraska.
They're going to lose that
on the
Nebraska
road
game.
in Northwestern. They say what you will about Urban Meyer. The guy knew how to fucking coach college football, and he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So combine losing a shitload of talent.
Did he have another heart attack?
I think Tim Tebow needed some support on the road for the AA Mets right now. So he, coach first or father first, coach second. Yeah, I mean, when I was doing my vast research on the Big Ten, I think you can go one of two ways. You can either just – I've heard a lot of people say they like Ohio State better because Urban Meyer is gone. Okay,
I
you can
think
make that
They're
argument.
not
I would
better,
agree
but
with
they
that.
still have a shitload of talent.
They're
and
very talented.
they're not a program that loses a lot of games in the regular season.
Yeah.
No, they're not. But they lost a lot of talent. I think. Hold on. While you
But
tell
they still
They
had
got and Justin Fields looked like shit in that spring game, but I mean,
also,
that was a
yeah,
long
their
time ago.
recruiting
Yeah.
class was still
Top
guys
notch, yeah.
that
Top
Meyer
notch.
thought they were going to play for
The
Meyer. right?
talent level is there still.
they have talent. No
yeah.
one's going to deny that. But when you have three very trippable road tests in the Big Ten,
Yes.
and then you still have to play a Penn State and a Michigan State. They play the 5 toughest teams in the 6 toughest teams in the conference. Obviously, it's very loaded towards the East, but they have Nebraska and Wisconsin and Northwestern on their schedule this year.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 best teams from the other side. And you have a new coach.
I was there too.
You don't know he hasn't been the head coach before for a program that you have a ton of personalities for. I think for as much as I will forever talk shit about Urban Meyer for being a cheater and for being someone who just didn't give a shit about having any sort of moral compass, he was able to coach those dudes, which says a lot about his ability to coach a bunch of dudes that may not be on the same page, may have loud personalities. He should maybe go look for a job in Cleveland down the road in Coach Odell. But
Bless him.
I think
Bless him, Urban.
I do think there's always something to be said on that angle if you want to just look at coaching. So can this team trip up a couple times? Absolutely. Can they? Are they more likely to go 9-3 than 11-1? To me,
Yes,
absolutely.
I would agree with you.
So
I would agree with you.
I'm actually I like them over.
and
but
do
I don't
do
feel
I
as
love
strongly.
do I love fading fucking Ohio State? Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like Ohio State, but them winning. I mean, yeah, as annoying as it is when people talk win totals, and like the number's probably right. I don't see them. I see them losing one game more than losing 3. I'm still high on Ohio State.
See,
I'm with Kramer.
all right,
If I
one
had
more
to go
Kramer.
one way, I'd go Kramer's side.
What else do you like, Kramer?
Oh, that's it.
That's your big one.
I came
All right.
with. I mean, if I'm gonna go over,
That's fine.
I really do like the regression. You know, I like statistical regression. Nebraska, a team that they're on the rise. I think Colby would agree with this.
Nebraska's
Lost a lot of close games last year.
Scott Foster.
We agree that the coach
Scott Frost.
Scott Frost.
Froster,
Whatever.
Froster the snowman.
That's someone's gonna comment.
He
there.
was thinking about the cocaine
anyone
soccer
doesn't-
story, so he was. I think if you asked me to take it over here, I would do Nebraska.
Okay, my one play that's really jumping out at me. Although there's a couple I like here. You guys are.
And hold
Colby's
on.
gonna make fun of me.
But
for
before you
picking
say
this.
that, I would follow through with Nebraska to say that that's
all right.
more of a win the conference bet
Yeah.
to me because
Yep.
I'm seeing anywhere. My bookie has 13-1. I've seen it as high as 20-1. Which
win
is insane
total-
because they have a very nice path to come out of the West.
Yeah, their road games are very easy in conference.
I was also all over Nebraska, but the 8.5 is almost. It's like too much for it to be value. But I think the move is to take, like you said, take them to win the conference at 13-1, 20-1 maybe. They could win the West, and then I mean they have the highest win total in the West. So them winning it and then getting to the Big Ten championship game, and then you have one side at 20-1. You can hedge. Of course, you won't hedge because hedging is for pussies, but it's still a fun thing to lay out as a plan. For me, you guys are going to make fun of me, but there is so much data that is pointing to this Rutgers team
Oh my
winning
God.
at least 3 games.
I like it.
Lock
I like
that
it
up.
actually. I like that play.
What happened, Sean?
I did a little research again. Courtesy,
Get drunk and fall into some numbers.
courtesy our friend over Phil Steele. Rutgers yards per point, 19.72. Now again, what does that mean exactly? I'm not going to bore you with the details. It's a thing I copied out of a magazine. However, a 19.72
Yards per point or yards per play?
No, yards per point.
Okay.
They're not getting 19 yards per play. Jesus fucking Christ. They won
I'm
one
just-
game.
I'm just checking your math.
81 if you're in that range, 81.1% of the time they have a better record than previous years. So this Rutgers team, they won one game. They're not going to win one game again. It's the lowest
They're
win total.
going to start off 1-0. They play UMass.
UMass
week
at
one.
home.
Yeah.
They also had close losses, 4-point loss to Michigan State, 3-point loss to Northwestern, 3-point loss to Eastern Michigan. Another sign for regression.
This is great.
Minus 14 in the turnover margin. Okay, tied for second worst in the whole college football. When you're that bad at the turnover margin, you're just bound to get a couple more fumbles. You're bound to get a couple more breaks. Their coach isn't horrible.
I like the fact they bring in a grad transfer, a quarterback from Texas Tech, McLean Carter.
Yeah.
Texas Tech can
Especially
sling
if
the
he
rock.
ends up being the starter.
Yeah.
Because the guy they had last year was like 4 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. That's not ideally he's not the starter, but it's just a bet that they figure out how to get 3 games.
Greg Schiano's not coming back.
Kramer grew up a Rutgers fan.
Yeah.
No,
Before
I
he went to
didn't.
Virginia Tech, that was his
Absolutely
team.
I didn't even know college football was played at Rutgers.
in the days of Terrell Willis.
Didn't even know.
Right?
And I won't make my full case, but 9.5 is too high for this Michigan team. As much as the previous years in the college football previews, I'd like to take Michigan just to fuck with Kramer and get in his head. There are 3 – I mean, you look at Michigan's schedule. There are 3 very losable games for this Michigan team. Even if they beat Ohio State at home, there's a number of they got Notre Dame this year. Granted, it's at home, but they're at Penn State, at Wisconsin. There's just ways to fuck this up for them.
They're one of the more interesting teams in college football because Jim Harbaugh hired Josh Gaddis, the offensive coordinator. He does a lot of spread action, which is very anti-Harbaugh. So
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to see how that will work with Shea Patterson and everybody.
Lenny Dykstra was really into spread action as well.
The slot. How's the slot?
That
Please.
episode was gold. That
Please,
episode
if
was
you
gold,
haven't
yeah.
listened, stop
Yeah.
right now. Go download the Lenny Dykstra episode.
It is the funniest interview. I'm telling you, I was really impressed, guys.
My new
thank
personal
you.
best friend, Lenny Dykstra. We've been texting back and forth. He's angling to get back on the show.
Oh,
And, we'll figure out how to get Lenny back on. And it's really, if you would have told me a 10-year-old Sean Green, as he's watching the Phillies,
Boom.
Toronto in the 1993 World Series, if one day you would be talking to Lenny Dykstra
Lenny
about
fucking
not
Dykstra.
wanting a finger in his butthole, and I would be surprised to say the least.
I was trying to explain to the lady. I'm like, no, you don't understand. He talked about how he doesn't like a finger in his butt.
Yes.
Or pulling hair.
This is after I described him as like a great baseball player for a short period of time.
I said, if you don't know Lenny Dykstra, which everyone listening to this knows who he is, but I've talked about him, and he's a baseball player, but a guy who hung out with Charlie Sheen, a guy that Charlie Sheen probably told to calm down at some point in his life. So Lenny lived on the wild side, and it was an awesome interview. So
Anyway,
make sure you check that
the
out.
spread. You were saying about Shea Patterson in Michigan.
Yeah, Josh
We kind of like him, right?
I do. I mean, when he was at Ole Miss, he ran the spread and he looked pretty damn good. But last year, he looked unorthodox in Harbaugh's system. It's look. You have a couple power schools that are making these transitions to these new offenses that are going to be really intriguing. And Michigan's one, and USC's the other. USC hired our guy Mike Leach's former quarterback Graham Harrell. So USC, a team that's going to be running, pass happy, basically air raid,
Yeah.
which is very interesting because
It's all the rave right now. Colby.
Yeah.
It's all the
Yeah.
rave.
ACC, Colby, kick things off. What is your early lock, your lead pipe, when it comes to win totals here for the
Well,
Power
and
Five?
before Colby speaks, I included Notre Dame in the ACC,
like they should be.
even though they're not men enough to actually join the conference all the way.
They're just lingering.
Well, it's
Just
gotten
the
to the
tip.
point where they play like 3 or 4 ACC teams every year now.
Yeah.
What is the holdup? Is it just the TV deal
It's
with
a
NBC?
TV deal, yeah. They're literally in the ACC in every other sport. So
Well, real quick, you threw out Ryan, or or Colby was talking air raid, mentioned Mike Leach, and we tweeted out, send in your questions for the college football preview podcast that we were doing here, talking
Totally.
win totals.
totally forgot about
But we can get we can talk about the listener questions as well. Got a good one sent in from our boy, longtime friend of the program, Stud Manley,
Oh.
and that was he asked who would win in a fight, Mike Leach or Chip Kelly.
Ooh, Mike Leach by a mile.
Come on.
He studied fucking tactical hand-to-hand combat.
yeah.
He told you the top
He's also
pirate.
studied pirates.
He's
Yeah,
got pirate
like,
blood.
Yeah.
He gave us power rankings for his pirates.
He'll swing off a chandelier, kick his ass some way, throw some dirt in his
I
eyes,
love the
you know?
little shimmy you're doing right now, because people, if you're listening to this and you wanted to see what Colby looked like as he was dancing in his chair there, you can
Yeah.
head over to youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. Is that the right link, Sean?
Exactly.
I
Nailed
didn't
it,
get
Ryan.
I didn't get any makeup done before this. What's going on, guys?
We're
It's
working
lacking
on
in
it.
the budget?
You're
You know what I
beautiful
mean?
without it. We're very much we're into the movement, if you know what I mean.
Kramer at Rube48 wants
Oh.
to know, how is VT looking this year?
Well,
We're talking ACC. I'll let you kick things off.
if they're ever gonna win one for a coach, I want to ask Colby this, because we are talking ACC. Virginia Tech always overperforms when they're not really being talked about. Kind of feels like that a little bit this year. Guess what? Everyone's on Miami's dick. Clemson is Clemson. We've moved them to the side for a second. Everyone's on Miami's dick. Florida State's gonna bounce back, blah, blah, blah.
Why did
Win one for Bud Foster.
Why did Bud Foster announce this at the beginning of the season? Doesn't this remind you of Tiki Barber when he announced it and then it brings all this drama
No.
to the program that you don't need?
But you don't understand. Bud Foster is he's the man. Even when Beamer was there, it was Beamer and Bud. Like, he has always been at that level. He will be a god forever in Blacksburg. He's objectively one of the, if not the best defensive coordinators of all time. He essentially was the first guy to really put a stop to that West Virginia version of the spread
With
back in
Rich Rod, yeah.
with Rich Rod. He's put a lot of really good offenses in the ground. He's had a lot of good players come through the grounds. I think him announcing this is giving. I don't think it was Bud Foster's idea. I think someone said, "Dude, get some fucking credit. Like, enjoy this fucking year because you've been an amazing and you've never been a head coach. You've never gotten to that level, but this would allow you to be honored." And I think that's all it is. And I think the players will play for him because he's Bud fucking Foster. Again, he's a legend. So I love it. He is the complete opposite of fucking Tiki Barber. So take those words out your mouth, Sean.
Okay, so you're high on Virginia Tech. Rare.
I'm not high. What I was going to ask Colby is that it often seems as though when
No one believes in him.
no one believes in them, much like the Philadelphia Eagles, they seem to do better in the world where expectations are lower. Fuente is kind of reaching an interesting point in his career. His magical offense hasn't been so magical.
Yes.
They had a tough go at it defense last year. They're returning a lot. They have a lot of linebacker talent. Like, they have a very intriguing team. Are they gonna do it to me this year where they get my hopes up? They get me thinking, well, they can go undefeated. They can go undefeated, Colby.
I mean,
Do they have the quarterback?
The Coastal's a complete mess.
Yeah, I know.
Because there's three teams. I mean, this conference, I see a lot of activity I like. But yes, Virginia Tech, with that number at 8, if I had to pick, I would go with the over because their schedule is so fucking easy that it's.
The juice is crazy on it right now. It's -175 on the over at 8.
No one wants to walk through the Virginia Tech schedule. They do get a nice bounce getting Boston College in August on the road.
Yeah.
That's
They
huge.
need to win that game, by the way, because that can tell a lot from your season.
They do play Notre Dame.
That's
On the
I have
road?
that penciled in as a loss.
They beat them there last time they played. So
I hope they win, but I got that penciled in as a loss, and I got them penciled in as a loss at Virginia.
dude, 15 times in 16 years.
Let me tell you
we've
something,
played
buddy.
Virginia and walked away with a win.
Do you
so.
not believe in Bronco Mendenhall yet? Because I tell you, my lock.
Anyway, this is not the Virginia Tech preview. It's
As
not.
much as people would
It's
want to
not.
hear that.
I want to get away from it because I want them to be a dark horse. I want them to squeak by
Like,
against Boston College.
Yeah. I can tell you, I love shit throughout this whole conference.
Wait,
man.
Ryan never gave out his.
Oh, yeah.
He was just weighing in on Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Who's
Unless
your lock?
You
Is
asked
that your
me.
lock?
We asked Colby first, but I happy to go first.
Yeah.
Absolutely happy to go first, and that's part of the reason I included Notre Dame in the ACC is pound this fucking under. Pound it.
I would agree with Kramer here. 7 teams have bye weeks prior to playing Notre Dame.
I saw that stat. I don't know if
Yeah.
I read it in the Phil Steele, if I heard it on a podcast.
Our podcast, probably.
Not just that. It's not just 7 teams are coming off a bye that played Notre Dame. They won a bunch of close games last year.
4
as well.
close wins, Notre Dame.
But they also it's their last 4 games.
Yeah.
They closed the season against 4 teams that will be coming off a bye.
Yeah.
Absolutely love this under at 9 plus 100. You can even get positive juice on that under, Sean. The other one I really like, and I may even this is a double whale play potential here.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
Because this one I'm already down on, and I'm down on for a whale's amount of pennies. Sean, that's Georgia Tech under.
Oh, okay.
Guess what they've been recruiting for the past N number of years?
And
The triple option.
recruiting's
Triple option.
recruiting's a strong word too, because they were kind of phoning that in.
Hey, Colby, what are they going to be running that offense anymore?
No, but they're
no.
stuck with those players. Yeah.
I mean, literally, this is like watching the movie Marshall.
Yeah,
Best
it's like
case
going
scenario.
from a 4-3 to a 3-4, but much more
drastic.
dramatic.
Yeah.
It would be like going from running a 3-4 at high school to playing in a 4-3 in college.
Yeah.
Like how this win total is 4 is beyond me. Go through the schedule, find me the 5 wins.
Yeah. I mean,
I put all the money on this.
and it was Justin Thomas, I think the quarterback's name. That's an option quarterback. He's going to be playing straight. He's got to learn how to play under center.
Yeah,
you know,
five
like-
wins is a lot. For
The
I watched-
defense should be decent with Jeff Collins, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm with you.
Their offense, like, come on.
I'm with you, man. I'm
All
with
right.
you. I'm agreeing with you.
Colby, what are we doing?
I mean, I love everything in this I have like 10 plays that I love in this conference. My lock is Virginia over 7.5.
Oh,
Bryce Perkins
Doing this, Ryan's right
Heisman,
here.
Heisman candidate. They got one of the best cornerbacks in the nation. They got continuity. Bronco Mendenhall, when they made this hire, I said that was a fucking money hire. And look what he's doing to this team. I think they're going to win the Coastal.
It's a great play because
Yeah.
we know what's going on this year, Sean. The conference will be decided before the calendar year 2019 will be over. And it would be only fitting. It's the only way we can take it up a notch.
the Kramer Fuck My Life tour.
Can we possibly? Although, Sean,
Virginia
I will
wins the
say,
ACC.
I don't know if you saw this.
25-1 right now.
I shot a 40 on the front 9 down in Hawaii. In one of those
But is
winning-
that? Now I wasn't there to
You weren't.
certify your scoring.
You weren't, and I have
Right,
no evidence to prove any of this.
Right.
But I was playing with these two dudes, these two chowderheads, who,
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
quick sidebar, because someone asked me on Twitter when I posted the scorecard, how many edibles had you eaten?
Yeah.
So at the turn, I consumed what would have gotten me to 50.
Jesus Christ.
At that point, one of the other dudes who I offered these coffee beans, they're 10 milligrams.
Yeah.
It had activated at that point.
Oh, and I know about that.
Lost his mind.
Yeah.
Lost.
It happens.
Colby knows
it
about that.
happens, all right?
I mean,
At least
it
it wasn't in the
derailed
middle
my,
of like a 5-star meal.
totally
you know?
derailed my. I birdied 10, Sean, and then I completely unraveled because this dude was just cracking me up. What were we talking about?
Some
Fuck
other
my
plays-
life.
Yeah.
You're taking Virginia over like a real dick.
The other team, I mean, I like a lot in this conference, but I'll just try to limit it to 2 other ones. I'll take Syracuse over 7.5. I think Syracuse.
I like them too.
Syracuse is going to be favored, I think, in potentially 11 games. I like,
That's a nice nugget.
man, I'll say, there's literally, it's hard to rate which one I like third best because I like a lot. I'll take Wake over 6 as well. This conference is much easier. Like one of the harder ones was the SEC. Like this one, you look through and you're like, man, I almost like everything. You know what I mean?
Be
So
careful.
you're just high on this conference overall.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great
But
lines there.
there can only be so many overs to go around. I'm going to throw my best bet for the ACC at this current juncture, and that is over 6 wins on the Pittsburgh
I like
Panthers.
that too. I like that too, man.
I think the Coastal a little more up for grabs than you guys think with your UVA and Virginia Tech. Don't count out the Panthers.
They're my sleeper, man. They're
They
my
brought
sleeper
in
the Coastal.
they brought in Mark Whipple,
Yeah, former UMass coach.
former UMass coach, and his team's ranked in the top 20 of FBS in passing and 14th last season. So they brought in some new coach. I just like their coach Narduzzi overall. The guy just seems like a psycho, super intense.
I like him too.
I want
yeah.
my kids the front of the class. I've just seen a couple videos of the guy. I like the intensity.
Me too.
And he's a guy that, are they going to destroy the 6 wins? No. But they'll win at least 6, probably 7,
Yeah.
maybe 8.
I'm on board with that. I mean, they're at a conference.
Like
so
he
it's
just
a little
did-
tricky, but
this guy doesn't put up with a losing season, Narduzzi.
Sean, I don't know how many people are turning this show off.
Granted, he was 5-7 2006.
They probably think they're in the wrong place, as you seem to know what you're talking about.
Yes.
This is not the storied tradition of the college football talk. on
Hey,
Sports
I'll
Gambling
be pulling stuff out of my ass through the entire season, but I do have a couple nuggets, and I'm with Colby probably on Cuse as well. But I'll just stick with my over on the Panthers there.
I'll say this, man, is that I rated all the Power 5 schedules, and the 3 easiest that I found in all the Power 5 were Miami, Virginia Tech, and Virginia.
Interesting. And yet you
Miami-
love the conference.
That's why I love it. I like all three on them potentially on the over. Miami's the only really uncertainty with Manny Diaz, and their quarterback play a little bit of a question mark.
Yeah, Manny Diaz won't have any coaching problems down there. But I'm sure everything will be like.
Manny Diaz just sounds like a handful.
I don't want to get too deep into the ACC, but I mean, Rick was a good coach. Like he had experience being a coach of a big time program. Again, coming back to the Urban Meyer thing, is Manny Diaz going to be able to step in and just be that guy? I don't know.
I mean, look at Georgia after Rick, but I'll say this,
They got better.
Yeah, I'll say this is that if you listen to the college experience last year, I gave away 7 locks and I went 7-0 on the win totals.
Woo!
And Miami on the under. Miami on the under was one of the 7. And guess what? Phil Steele was on the other side of that.
This year?
No, last year. Dantabase beat Steele in matchup.
Oh, well
Note
then.
to self: do
Right?
not listen to Phil Steele.
Burn this book.
Pac-12 is where we're going now. Colby, kick things off. What is your best bet win total? Why? What are you doing? What do you like? What don't you like, possibly?
See, it's funny. I'm adapting to the different lines. Shop around. I'll say that. Shop around because it seems like a
No,
lot
go
of
to
places.
mybookie.ag.
Oh, okay.
They got the best lines.
Okay, the first one that I would say, I'm probably, well, you know me. I like. I'm gonna give you 3. I'm gonna give you 3 here. Give me Arizona under 6.5.
Ooh.
See that line? That line was at 7. No. Rich Rod's the OC of Ole Miss.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kevin Sumlin's their head coach.
Oh,
Right?
that's
Do you
right.
not know?
Yeah.
Do you not know college?
Yeah.
How did I
football?
not know that? It's my boy, Kevin Sumlin.
He's a fun guy to fade.
Fade
He's up
him
there
on
with
his career.
And I think the Pac-12 South.
This is
competitive.
for Kevin Sumlin.
Sam Bradford is not a fucking franchise quarterback.
He's in the Sam Bradford range. Auto fade. Sorry, you had Arizona under. What else?
I will take Oregon State on the over.
Oh, I like it. You're getting smarter, taking those low numbers.
I
2.5.
love Jonathan Smith, what he's doing there. If you see Washington's offense struggled without him last year. And I will take.
What about your Buffs, Colby?
I like that too. I mean, dude, it's tough, grading the. And another thing is that the
Mel
lines,
Tucker? Come on.
I don't have faith in Mel Tucker. That's the
Wow,
scary
you
part.
don't.
That's the scary
SEC
part.
and NFL
I
experience.
don't like that. Nick Saban has had a lot of bad coaching from this tree. Lane Kiffin.
He's like the Bill Belichick.
Yeah, Derek Dooley at Tennessee. There's more too, but give me. I'm gonna go with the under on Oregon.
Ooh.
I think
Okay.
they're one of the more overrated teams in the country. I mean, I could go on and on.
I'll
guys.
combat you. One I really like, and I'm getting in on it. 9 wins. Give me the over on said Oregon Ducks.
Ooh.
Tell you why, Colby. How do you win in college football? How do you win in professional football? With your big guys up front, the uglies. Oregon, experience matters. Their O-line, they were career starts for the offensive line. 153 combined career starts. Number 1 in the nation. Quack, quack, Mr. Ducksworth. Give me Oregon.
They
over
lose.
9.
They lose one of the best defensive coordinators. Not
They
named
got
Bud
Herbert,
Foster.
though.
They lose Jim Leavitt.
They got Herbert and a great offensive line. That's all they need to win 9
The
games.
Pac-12 North is loaded. They also play Auburn week 1 in Arlington, Texas.
I'll also throw this out. Give me Washington State to win the conference because Mike Leach came on the podcast.
And he always overachieves.
Yeah, he really does. At 7-1,
Yeah.
you know I'm going to be riding with my boy
I mean,
Mike
over
Leach and
8
Wazoo.
over 8 wins. That's pretty much a lock. I probably should have locked that, but I just think the North is so tough. But he every year. I mean, last year I think it was at 7, and he won 11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The guy's the man. Kramer, what are you doing? Pac-12.
I was really enjoying that. I like a couple overs here, and one of
Okay.
them, Colby already kind of stole the thunder, and that's Oregon State.
That year 1.
You
that
got to
offense was
love a
moving.
super low over.
Well,
You guys got to win 3 games.
They were
And if
putting
you're a
up-
shitty team, it's easy to overlook Oregon State, especially if you're non-conference. You're not going to get up for a game in Oregon State. You're
well,
like, fuck these Beavers.
They
Go
were
ahead,
they were
Colby.
they were putting up points last year. They put up a lot on Ohio State, and they returned Jake Luton at quarterback, and they have a ton. Last year, when Smith came into this program, everybody transferred out. So at one point, prior to the season starting, like they didn't have enough defensive backs. They were using wide receivers at defensive backs. This year they bring in a lot of transfers that sat out last year, and a lot of experience. A couple 4 or 5 star, or not 5 star. I think a couple 4 stars are on that defense that transfer in. I think one from Nebraska, and one from I think TCU.
Tough play to play. I mean, or Arizona State has to go up there late in the season. Never the easiest place to play. Stanford goes up there at the end of September.
Yeah.
They catch Cal. I mean, they could very well be over on September 28th.
Yeah.
After playing Stanford.
Colby, this brings up a good question. We're talking about the Pac-12. We seem high on a couple of these teams. However, at One Man Show 67, he tweets in and has a question: what's wrong with the Pac-12? No team in the preseason top 10, and it will be a surprise if one ends up in it. Will Clay Helton finish the season at USC?
Well, what's wrong with the Pac-12, in my honest opinion, and if you listen to the college experience, which I strongly recommend you to do, because I think it's just a complete East Coast bias. And I also, I'll say this. Look, outside of the outside, I measured every team against the Power 5 out of conference. The Pac-12, the past 5 years, by far the best. 20-2 playing the other conference.
I think what's really happened is UCLA and USC, the two schools in the biggest city as far as media, have been dog shit lately.
Yeah.
So that like if USC was good, you would be getting, or even just a little bit better, you'd be getting a ton of hype. Or if UCLA,
Washington
if they didn't
should
have
be
Chip
in the top
Kelly.
10 though. Like, I don't care. Chris Peterson, they get Jacob Eason, a quarterback that's much better than Jake Browning. I don't understand how they're not in the top 10. And then, like, I just think
also
it's
like preseason, they shouldn't have.
yeah, that's terrible. Why do we do the database rankings? Because we don't believe in preseason rankings.
No, it's silly to even have the rankings as preseason. So a little bit of bias. They do. Pac-12 needs to get their shit together a little bit. I would argue.
Larry Scott's a complete idiot, but I'm saying, trying to start games at 9 a.m. Did you see that? That's ridiculous.
That's how you gotta love Michael Leach. He goes, "Why would we do this?"
Yeah, dude, they're 20-2 at home playing every other Power 5 conference.
Yeah.
That's by far, to give you an idea, the SEC has a losing record playing at home against the other Power 5.
The Pac-12
the
commissioner.
ACC has a losing record playing against the other Power 5. The Big 10 is 500. The only two teams with winning records are the Big 12 and the Pac-12. The problem is that those stats should be all over ESPN. They're not. There's a complete bias.
Well, because they're in bed with the SEC.
But Clay Helton will be fired, I think, because that schedule is too fucking tough.
Yeah. And Chip Kelly, UCLA is too nice. They're going to let him stick around.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but I have one more over to throw out here. Not trying to be a dick, but where is the national championship contender in this conference?
Washington.
That's the obvious answer. They have the highest win total. They're the favorite to win the conference. I'm just saying some of the
I would
bias.
say Oregon. I think
some of the
Oregon.
bias
Some say
is
Utah,
fair,
but-
though. I'm just and that's where I'm going to go. I'm
Justin
bringing
Herbert at 20-1 to win the Heisman, and I think they have a legit shot to make the college football
bringing
playoff.
it full circle because I do think Utah is going to walk the South this year. I am going to be chalky there. At 550 to win the conference, even if you want to just grab them and SC at 8-1, you could be sitting in a proposition where you're going to be able to hedge out. I also like the Utah over. This is a very strong team. This is a team that had tremendous bad luck when it came to injuries last year. This is a team that didn't exactly start well last year, but they showed a lot, I thought, as far as
I still wonder.
dealing with adversity.
They're a classic team that maybe kind of like Virginia Tech to me when
Better
Utah,
when they don't have expectations.
Yes, and when they do, I feel like they struggle. They got a new OC coming in who's good, Andy Ludwig, but I still wonder. I mean, that defensive line is that people put it up there with Alabama's. You know what I mean? Like Clemson. So it's. I mean, the talent is there. I just wonder also the quarterback play. Can they get steady quarterback play the whole season? I wonder about them when they hit the road. They're great in Salt Lake City. But that's another thing to defend the Pac-12 bias that I want to get in here is that yes, that maybe they don't have that conference heavyweight like Clemson or Alabama, which is probably true to a certain degree. But when you're 20-2 at home against the Power 5, that's unbelievable, and that shows the contrast in how good the home environments are. A lot of night games at Arizona State, very hard place to win. At Oregon, very hard place to win.
Oregon
At
State.
Washington, at Oregon State,
Washington
at
State.
Utah. Another thing they deal with is different weather.
Yeah.
They're one of the only conferences that really you're going to get different
Yeah.
altitude, different weather.
You're playing at altitude. I mean, that's part of the reason you like Utah, right? And you look at look at the games they can trip. Look
Yeah.
at those. Okay, they're going to probably take care of business at home.
They could trip in week 1 because BYU, that game's always close, and they fucking
that's
hate
what I'm
each
saying.
other.
If they win BYU,
Yeah.
the BYU game, to me, they're going over 9 because they go at Washington, they go at at USC, right?
But USC probably is talent wise right there with them if they can just show.
They lose those 2 games.
Okay.
I'm giving those 2 losses.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying if they beat BYU, they go 10-2. I think they run the rest of their games.
Mike Leach is undefeated against. He's never lost to what's his name?
I hear you, but
their head coach.
I
I'm struggling to
like
think
the
his name right now.
situation
Whittingham.
for Utah in that spot.
What's
So
their other away games?
They go at BYU, as you discussed, at USC, at Oregon
They
State,
play at Washington.
at
That's a loss.
Washington. That's
a
what I
loss.
said.
Okay,
At
yeah.
Arizona. They're not. It's not the toughest.
They
road
can beat
schedule.
Arizona. Yeah,
So,
you're right. You're
anyway,
right. Yeah.
I like those 2 overs and being positive because I wouldn't want Colby to yell at me for having a Pac-12
Now, which
bias.
one is your lock, Ryan?
Oh, 100% the lock is Oregon State.
Okay. And Colby, you gave out 3 of those 3. What are we locking up here for the listeners at home?
My lock will be what was my third one? I'm gonna say my lock is Oregon State on the over.
Ooh,
Sean, I'll be
double
honest with you.
lock.
Yeah.
What I try to do for the listeners, I try to give them wins that are going to be cashing in September. So
Well, they appreciate that, Ryan. And while you're giving out winning picks, I thought I would, and we would, hook the listeners up with a great office pool hosting service called Play Ball 2. Sorry, Play Ball 2. If you're in an office, right? You're listening to the Sports Gambling Podcast. You're probably the diehard of your office. You're probably the guy. Oh, hey, Doug. Put Doug in charge of the fantasy football pool. Put Doug in charge of our NFL pick'em. Put Doug in charge of our March Madness bracket. Well, if you're Doug and you know what a pain in the ass it is sometimes to run a poll or a pick'em or any of those different things, the brackets, whatever, you want a service that's easy to manage, that's free. And that's what's the great thing about Play Ball 2. Also looks really nice. You can customize. I think you can do up to like 30 different styles of pools or brackets. Pick'em, ATS, over-unders they even have. Normally, for some sites like this, you're going to pay a bunch or you're going to be on like Yahoo with a bunch of really annoying ads. Not Play Ball 2. Completely free, and if it wasn't, not just a great hosting site, also, they're throwing out to the listeners of the Sports Gambling Podcast free entry to Joe Montana, the great Joe Cool himself, the GOAT QB of all time. He's hosting his own NFL Pick'em Challenge, $1,000 prize, free to enter. All you got to do is go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Click the Play Ball 2 banner to get started running your own pool and, of course, winning $1,000 off of Joe Montana. Good times. Now we're going to slide over to the Big 12. Colby, where
Still
you go?
10 teams.
wait a second.
What the fuck?
Give it to us, Colby. What are we doing here in the Big 12?
My favorite play would be I'm going to go Oklahoma State over 7.
Ooh.
Gundy, kind of one of those guys that when the team is projected lower, always overachieves, and when they're projected higher, kind of underachieves. I like a few here. I mean, it's me. I like everything. But, I mean, a couple other two. I'll give 2 others out. I'm going to go TCU over 7.5, and that's basically just chasing the trend. TCU in years where Patterson struggles, the next year normally they're really, really good. I mean, he's been there for 20 years or something, or 18 years. So you can look at this and see it like it's happened like 7 times.
They're also on the where they were kind of unlucky with the close losses
And injuries.
I think they had
injuries.
five close losses last year.
They should have beat Ohio State last year. They really should have. And then the my third play is I'll take the under on Texas Tech. I like Matt Wells, but coming in their year one, little contrast in styles, and then with the schedule, I just think I don't see them getting to 7.
You're not going to take the Mad Hatter?
I like Matt Wells. That's
No.
my guy. Oh, okay.
No.
Who are you talking? Oh, I
Kansas,
got you.
baby.
Oh.
Les Miles.
Year one, man. He's got some work to
No.
do. He's
Yeah,
got
no,
some
I'm
work
not
to do.
taking
Yeah.
that. If anything, I would probably suggest the under.
Yeah, right.
Les Miles is used to having a lot of talent.
I mean, they play Indiana State, an FCS school that made the playoffs last year.
You might beat
And
them.
week 1.
Might beat them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then week 2 is Coastal Carolina, won 5 games. If you don't win those 2, if you just lose one of those, you're not hitting your over.
You know what? I wasn't gonna throw it out, but I've enjoyed betting against Les Miles. Let's throw a Kansas under 3 for me.
Under 3.
He is fun to bet against in certain situations. Under 3, Kramer.
I'll throw it. It's not my lock. My lock
Okay.
is gonna be Baylor. I think
I like that one too, man.
the Matt Rule thing.
Year
Going
3.
over.
What did I see? He went to double digit wins was year 3 at Temple, and he went
Baylor
from
strong,
1
baby.
1 to 7 after all the rapey stuff.
Yeah.
So now we think he's going to jump. People have forgotten the rapey stuff. Baylor's back to being a proper institution. They're going to compete. And I'll throw this out: Baylor 25-1. Get some of that action, because Colby,
Mhm.
I know you're going to be like, well, Oklahoma, Texas, blah blah blah. Baylor has a shot. The other one that I was prepared to throw out before I tickled myself with the Les Mile talk, and that's TCU. For a lot of the reasons that Colby threw out.
You just got to chase that trend, right? It's just he's money and on the year after. You know what I mean?
I would say I feel like with TCU and Baylor, I'm gonna grab a piece of there to win the conference at 18 and 25-1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know Oklahoma. They're reloading. They got another. You know, is it not strange to anyone else that everyone's just Jalen Hurts is just gonna run in and drop in and be the same quarterback that these other dudes have been.
Yeah, you're
Baker
not playing
Mayfield-
for.
Baker Mayfield
Kyler
had a
Murray,
good arm. And by the way, did you see him shotgun that beer at the game tonight, Indians game? All right, I see you. Game recognizes game there, Sean.
Hey, who
But-
called
but-
that one? Who called that
Just
one? buddy?
put he just
real
put
quick.
Aaron Rodgers in a body bag.
He really did. But real quick, okay, Kyler Murray, although Sean has a problem with the name Kyler,
It's not a real name.
professional baseball player, all right? So Baker Mayfield, great arm. Kyler Murray, great arm.
Yeah. Here's where
Jalen Hurts does not have a great arm. Why is he 10-1 to win the Heisman? Really?
and I think a lot of that has to
Volume?
do with my guy Lincoln Riley. He's a offensive genius. I think he's going to work up plays that will favor Hurts' game, and I think they're going to be money again with
But
Hurts.
he got beat out by a lefty Hawaiian dude who seems kind of. He lost the.
You could also-
Sunshine
you could
came in
also-
and took his job.
But then who bailed him out when Tua went down after he was struggling against Georgia?
I got no beef with Jalen Hurts. I was just very surprised as I was doing my prep work to see that everyone is just like, yeah, Oklahoma will be fine. Yeah, he should
Lincoln
be a
Riley-
Heisman candidate.
Lincoln Riley is really efficient with the quarterback position.
I feel you.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
I just think for the fourth favorite to win the Heisman.
Well, I think a lot of that is because they've had 2 Heisman Trophy winners in a row. But
I get that, but Jalen Hurts is not those guys.
I would still fade him to win the Heisman. Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's the favorite, but I do think take a piece of Baylor, take a piece of TCU to win the conference, and those are the 2 overs I like, both at 7.5.
I'm going my big lock. Lock it up. Giant lock on this. Under Texas 9.5.
I
That's
like
way
that.
too
I like
high.
that.
Way too high. Too much hype.
Too much hype.
Yeah, and they're not bringing a lot of guys back. Only 8 returning starters.
Well, they get LSU and Oklahoma just off the top. That's 2 really good football teams, and then they got to play in Ames. And they, like I said,
Schedule's
yeah.
not easy. Not returning a bunch of guys, and you look at those like regression stuff. Like close wins, lucky wins. They definitely hit on a lot of those things. So, yeah, give me the under.
But they're not
Longhorns.
playing Maryland this year. They seem to lose to Maryland every year. So that's one thing. But yeah, they get Oklahoma State obviously, but it's in Austin. But that could still be a loss at TCU.
There
Yeah.
you go, Colby. You nailed it. They have
At Baylor.
TCU
It's a tough
and
schedule.
at
Yeah,
Baylor.
yeah. And at Iowa State. That's the one you really circle because I don't think they win at Iowa State.
I also it's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I also think it is it has been years now where we've kind of gotten accustomed to Texas not performing. They do have the coach in place, I think, that's going to get them there. They may have the quarterback in place that's going to get them there. What would lead me away from riding with you, Sean, is that this could be that combo. While I'm not going to bet on this, and I'm not endorsing the over, because it's very easy to find three games they can lose here.
Yes, and that's what I did, and that's why I'm betting against them.
Well, I think they're actually going to beat LSU in week 2. It's the Oklahoma game that's the question mark. It's the Ames game that's a question mark.
Well,
it's
the Baylor
TCU
game,
yeah.
the Baylor game is before the Red River Shootout, so that's going to be a really tough game. I don't see how they win at Baylor and then at home against Texas
Baylor's
Tech.
at the end of the season in November.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's right before a huge rivalry game.
Oh, against Texas Tech? Meh. It's not the Oklahoma game.
No, but I'm saying as far as games, I don't see them winning both those games there at the end
Even
of
a
the season.
game at Morgantown, even though their talent level's way down, Morgantown's a crazy place. That's not
Oh,
a
well,
for
I'm
sure
with
win.
I'm with you. I'm just
Yeah.
saying what's leading me to not take the under is the fact that they do kind of have the pieces, and I hope and I wonder if the bias is just because they've been hot garbage for the last decade.
Yeah, I mean they whooped Georgia's ass last year in the bowl game.
They did.
You know, so
But
there's-
who gives a fuck? It's a meaningless bowl game.
hey,
I-
well,
I
apparently
I know the database watches them all, but
Now, moving on to the greatest power conference of all time, a conference that deserves multiple teams.
he's
in the
trying to
playoff.
work me up. Trying to work me up, man.
You're not a just auto install the SEC into a
Fuck
bunch of
no.
championships.
I will say for the first time in a while, the East is at least closer.
Well, with Georgia and Florida at least, yeah. I don't
They're at
don't
least-
give me this Tennessee thing yet. I'm not buying in.
We
You buying into Tennessee?
We have a
Yeah.
question here, guys. Not to interrupt the random Tennessee talk, but Wally Brennan writes in at WBrennan52. There's no way I lose my LSU under 9 wins plus 110 bet, right? Got to be a push at worst. Do you see LSU winning double digits?
I mean, I think they're going to lose to at Texas and then at Alabama, so that puts them right there at. I mean, he's probably going to push, but I could see.
You know, Sean, this
Yeah.
is one of those numbers that's really on the mark.
Well, they get A&M. They get A&M in Baton Rouge. They get Florida in Baton Rouge. They get Auburn in Baton Rouge. But I think Auburn has some revenge to deal them after last year, a questionable call.
Are we Tigers?
We are Tiger. Hey, I love Coach O, man. I think they're going to end up like 9-3. But
So
yeah.
he's not going to lose it. I don't.
if they beat Texas, he's good. Week 2, he's going to.
They got embarrassed by Alabama at home.
They're not
going
going to win at Alabama, dude.
Revenge.
No fucking way. I'm done. I'm done with.
You think Eddie O wants to lose to Nick
Wow.
Saban
listen
again?
listen to Colby. He's done with taking crazy underdogs that no one
no,
believes.
and Coach O, I wrote LSU that game, dude. They
Yeah.
lost 29-0. That's fucking at home. That's embarrassing. That's called an
It's
ass whooping.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. All right, Kramer.
But do
kick
you
things
like them
off.
to win? Do they get to 10?
I think they're gonna be 9-3. And if I
if he got plus juice on LSU under, I like that because 8
Oh, he
and
took
4.
the under?
Yeah, 8-4 to me is more likely than 10-3 or sorry 10-2.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I feel like in the NFL you get a lot more half game win totals, so you don't have this bullshit where you're like it's a 3-win
why do they-
swing. It's like, oh well, yeah, they're gonna.
Why don't they make all win totals a half?
Because in every conversation,
Make it more exciting and
it's
just
like
adjust
Shop
the
your
juice.
line.
do we think they're
Colby,
going?
how dare you?
I'll
There's
get-
a one-stop shop called
Right.
mybookie.ag.
I will get this
I will
started.
unplug.
because
I will turn this podcast around.
We've had it up to here. Let's just start with the Florida under. Period. This team. I mean, Colby, I'm guessing you don't disagree with me. See, I went double negative to try to trick you.
Damn it, that was. My
I think
play,
they're
too.
gonna beat Miami. I think, and they get 3 bye weeks, which is just ridiculous. And they play 2 FCS schools, so that's already a little bit like okay. Add the 2 FCS schools, and if they beat Miami, it will be 3. Florida State's not good. That's 4. Then
Well, I Florida State.
I'm not buying in the Florida State thing. So that's 4 right there, and then you figure Kentucky. Okay, Kentucky beat them last year, But I do think Florida, that was Mullen's first year. I don't think I think they're probably right on the mark for me again. But I would say if I had to lean one way, I might lean towards. Well, they're going to lose at LSU, and they're going to lose to Georgia.
They could absolutely lose to Kentucky. They could absolutely lose to LSU, Georgia. They could absolutely drop a.
They play at Missouri, don't they?
At Missouri.
Yeah, that's a tricky game. That's a tricky game. Missouri's a secret.
Sean. To me, this is more. They're closer to an 8-4 team than they are a 10. I just don't see how they get 10. This is crazy.
I think if I had to choose, I think I would agree with you.
If you had, where do they get 10 wins?
I'm going under. Lock it up for Florida as well. You got an offensive line with 4 new starters in a highly competitive, best conference around SEC. That
you need Miami to win week 0.
You can't win double digits in the SEC with a subpar line, and you're not going to bring 4 new offensive starters onto that line and win double digits. You just don't. The SEC line play is too good. Why do you think we get all these shitty Alabama running backs in the NFL, and you're like, oh, they're dog shit? Because the SEC has legit line play, like really good offensive linemen that just push people around and they run the ball down people's throats. That's SEC in a nutshell.
And they pay the players.
Yeah, because they're smart.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think if I had to lean, I would lean towards the under on Florida. So there's that.
I'm going under.
Quick question for me about the SEC,
Whoa,
Sean.
I like what you're doing here. Asking yourself a question.
Mr. Jackson on Twitter.
Yes.
At Mr. Jackson with a whole bunch of numbers.
I wanted to read this.
Oh.
No, Ryan, you can do it.
Preemptive strike. Question is for Kramer. That's me. Is college football harder to watch when you know there is a good chance most of the teams in the SEC could beat the Giants? Here's my problem with that statement. It's not the right time to say that. Maybe Alabama's catching 14 against the Giants? Maybe.
The Giants.
Georgia, come on. Sit down with your silly statement. The Giants are really poised to shock the world. We're not even talking about them, but they are poised to shock the world. Colby, give us a pick for the SEC, please.
My lock. You only have one team that you're taking?
Oh, I figure we're mixing it up in this.
Okay,
I don't know. I can go again, or you can go. Are you not prepared?
No, I'm prepared. I'm always prepared, buddy.
Camera loves you, Colby.
I will go with give me. What's my favorite play out of all these? Give me Tennessee under 7.
Oh, you did to your boy.
Yeah.
Alan Cooley.
Look, talk about a team
friend of the program, just daggers in Alan's heart.
Talk
How
about
dare you?
a shitty offensive line last year.
Wow.
And what makes me believe they're going to be better this year?
If I may, Alan, Sean and I do not share the views expressed by Colby.
No,
Dan.
I'm a huge Tennessee guy. The volunteer. I bleed orange and white, and I love Tennessee over 7. Fuck Texas. Oh wait, no, not Texas, but
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Sorry, whoever their rival is.
Oh, no,
fuck
their
those
rivals.
guys.
By the way, Vanderbilt's beat them 3 times in a row. They're going to make it 4.
You know who they're
No, because it's Tennessee's year.
I will say.
I'm just doing it for
I do
Alan.
think it's
He's a
Tennessee
good
to
guy.
beat them.
If there's one thing that we don't talk about enough about the SEC is this constant need to continually perpetuate the sins of your family and your past with your horrible racist things and getting dressed up for football games. I have no reason why they do this other than that it must be something back to the plantation days. So
It's easier to fan yourself and drink a cool glass of lemonade when you're wearing a nice cotton shirt.
Right.
You look like a Southern dandy. Yeah, it's very obnoxious. Just get
like
liquored up and chew tobacco.
Newsflash.
That's what's
like,
the fun part about the South.
I'm all about
There's other parts
college
that we could get rid of.
and partying.
Yeah.
And like Sean said, dip, rolling your own cigarettes,
Fuck
whatever
yeah.
that may be, right?
That's a cool part
But
of the South.
going out of your way to wear fucking long sleeves on a hot, humid day to go to no one
Who are you
dresses like that to go to a
impressing?
football game. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll throw out a couple other that I like. I like Missouri on the under. Kelly,
8?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't sort this one.
Kelly Bryant coming in, and obviously he's a proven quarterback, but he can't throw the ball as good as Drew Lock. So I wonder how that's going to affect the offense. And then I will probably that would be my second play and my third, I guess. I mean, I kind of like a few here. I like
You know, it'd be a good bit, Sean.
Yeah.
Colby Dant bets all 130 win totals at the Superbook.
Oh man.
We're at
Well,
my
check us
bookie.
out. Oh, okay. I was about
There
to
you
say,
go.
you know, last year I kept track of my. Should I just give me a second here? We're gonna go with my third play would be.
You almost remind me of Paul Pierce, that meme where he's got the two phones and like using the one phone to zoom in on the other phone.
I'm happy.
Colby has his cell phone and his tablet in the same.
I'm
hand.
just happy people can see this.
yes.
Well,
YouTube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast.
I just want to go through just to tell you my record last year on my locks. Picking every game over and under. Not only my locks were 7-0, but picking every game 58 or not picking every game, picking every team's
team.
over unders 58, 45, and 12.
Hoo-wee.
All right,
Is that good?
that is good. That's called a winning record, buddy. 13 over. And I'm picking some of these shit teams. Are you kidding me? And then, by the way, NC Nick and Patty C also over 500.
Can I throw out my other one,
What's
Colby? I want to hear your take on this.
What's
I'm
that?
going to the bottom of the West. Give me the over on Arkansas.
You're crazy.
Nah, I don't.
You're
like that
crazy
crap.
on that one.
They got to win 2 conference games. Can they win 2
You know
conference
Colorado
games?
State beat them last year, right?
They're going to win that game at home. Revenge spot. Can they win 2 conference games?
No,
It's a question.
I don't think so. I mean, it depends. No, I think Ole Miss is better than them.
Okay.
So who do they get in cross division? Do you have their schedule right there?
I'm looking at it right here. I'm sure people don't want to hear us walk through Arkansas.
No, but cross division they get Kentucky, but it's at Kentucky,
Yep.
and they get who's the other one?
Mississippi State.
No, that's theirs.
Missouri.
Missouri. Is it?
Yep.
They're gonna lose both those, dude.
No, they aren't. They win. They shock the world and beat Texas A&M, and they beat Missouri. They get to 6, cash the ticket.
You're crazy on that one.
My lock, Kramer already kind of stole it with. I'm definitely on Florida under, but also give me Mississippi State under. Why was
I like that
Mississippi
play.
State good last year? Because of their defense. They lost Jeffrey Simmons, Montez Sweat,
and their
and
quarterback.
Jonathan Abram. Yeah, and their quarterback. It just seems like just too much turnover in positions that matter. And again, I mean, right now we got what? Keaton Thompson, and Tommy Stevens.
Yeah, Penn State transfer coming in.
Just not something I'm going to get excited about. And listen, the SEC West, you got Alabama, you got LSU, you got Auburn, Texas A&M. I mean, Ole Miss will be a fight. And then, if Kramer, if you're high on Arkansas, it's not going to be easy for Mississippi State to get to 9 games.
I'll throw out Auburn on the over as well.
Okay.
I like that play. It got maybe the best defensive line in the
If
country.
you want to be chalky, go with Colby. If you want
I
to
think it's a
zag when
solid
everyone else
play.
is
What are you
zigging,
talking
take
about?
Arkansas.
I had the under in Tennessee, and everyone's high on Tennessee this year.
He did, and there was also much more Oregon State talk in this podcast than I would have thought.
My favorite Colby bit is how everyone's out to get him. It's my favorite.
You're right,
thing.
you son of a
Like,
gun.
what you guys don't know is there's tin foil on the inside of this hat here. Are we doing a quick Heisman pick?
Why don't we save the Heisman pick and playoff pick where we go on our final college football preview podcast?
Well, how many minutes are we? Let's see if we can get to 2:20.
See,
Where are we at?
we're not even close to 2
Are
hours.
we past
and 20
53 minutes though?
We are past 53.
Okay,
all right,
so
then
you gotta be
we're
happy
gonna
there.
edit it down. all the talk we're just fucking around. We're gonna lose that. It's gonna be super
Look,
tight.
it's cool to break rules, guys. All right, if you're telling me 53, if you're telling me 53 is the limit here, look, go to the iTunes of the or the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and look at it. How many fans want it to be longer?
Colby. Yeah, I appreciate
Every
the
girl
fan
I've ever
feedback,
been with has wanted more.
Exactly.
but it's the number one rule in show business. Leave them wanting more. And if you want more, all you got to do is go to subscribe.thesgpn.com. And if you're listening to this podcast, it means you really enjoyed it. And you owe it to us and to the network and to the world to spread the good word that is the Sports Gambling Podcast. Go there, rate, review, and share on iTunes.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Make sure you sign up for Play Balto.
Shine up.
All right. I just drank an entire glass of whiskey. I'm not over here. It's a Saturday night. I'm not working on a LaCroix Quarate or whatever. Explain what that is you're drinking, Ryan. This is what you drink when you're in recovery.
Sparkling water. I mean, I am recovering, dude. A lot of milligrams consumed over the last week.
There you
Hawaii
go.
was fun. Check back in for our full college preview.
Did you have some shaved
Exactly.
ice?
It's shave ice. Thank you.
All
And
right.
again, give us a follow on Instagram. Tons of cool videos going up on there, and youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Kramer.
Go Hokies.
Sorry, what did I say? And he is Ryan. I called you Kramer as your first name. Jesus. All right, I'm hitting the wall. And he is Ryan
Go Hokies.
Kramer. Let it ride.